Good evening and welcome to Northwest State's College Credit Plus Information Night for our public school students. I'm Nicole Gearshoots and I'm going to actually welcome in our president at Northwest State, Dr. Michael Thompson.
Good evening. Can everybody hear me okay? Some thumbs up there. Good. Excellent. So welcome. We're doing things a little different as we normally do, and just getting her done, as I like to say. So welcome to College Credit Plus Information Evening. I'm Michael Thompson, the president of Northwest State, and really appreciate great team with lots of information. So I would just say three simple things. Number one, get your specific questions addressed. That's kind of like a big thing to do. Make sure you don't leave without any question unanswered. Number two would be explore. Find things, play things, not just ask, but kind of explore around. We have a website with lots of virtual tools. And the last, when you leave this evening, make sure you've connected with one person. Start that one kind of relational thing going, whether it be Nicole or any of the other team members or a faculty member. But just connect, because we're really about building relationships with people and then just helping as we kind of go along. And welcome. Thank you for coming tonight. And with that, I will turn it back to Nicole.
All right. Give a round of applause for Dr. Thompson. I know this is kind of weird doing it. This is our first Zoom doing this meeting. So bear with us if we have any issues. What we're going to do tonight to take attendance is the QR code. You can scan your screen. If you have any troubles with scanning the screen for the QR code with your phone, let us know in the chat and we'll get you that information. In there, you're going to fill out your information on the student's name, the parent's information to verify your attendance, and then that information will go to your guidance counselor to verify your attendance for them. And then we'll also send you an email with the PowerPoint for this evening, as well as the packet information that you would normally get at our meeting. That information is going to include some different items such as like your consent form, a checklist, different things like that. But you'll receive that all in the next few days to come. And now I'm going to turn it over to Michaela and Kayla.
All right, hello everyone. So we are going to start going through all of the state information. If you didn't catch the QR code, the link is in the chat and it will also be posted at the end of the presentation for you. So to begin, what is College Credit Plus? CCP is Ohio's dual credit program for students in grade 7 through 10. You can earn high school and college credit at the same time, and students will enroll in college classes and adhere to the requirements of the college. We'll get into some more details as we go on. So to be enrolled in College Credit Plus, you must complete an assessment exam to be determined eligible. So some exams that we use, the two most popular are the ACT and the Accuplacer assessment. You may apply to any public college or private participating college. You may apply to multiple institutions, and you must be an Ohio resident. So the multiple institutions kind of comes into play if your school has in-house classes and you want to take classes at another school. You are more than welcome to do that. So you may choose from a variety of college level courses as determined by placement testing and course eligibility rules. So you must for example, you must meet the prereqs for a class, so you can't just take whatever class you would like. You can earn credit to satisfy both high school and college requirements. So basically, one 3-credit hour class in college will be one high school unit. So for example, if you want to take Comp 1, that's a 3-credit hour class here at Northwest State, that will equal 1 year of high school English. You must successfully complete the course in order to earn credit. We'll get into that in more detail. So there is no cost to CCP for students as long as you pass the class. All courses are taught by qualified college instructors. And CCP students have access to all the Northwest State academic support services, such as the Success Center, which includes all of our tutoring services, the library, the gym, everything that a Northwest State student has access to, you will have access to as a CCP student. So student athletes, make sure you just talk to your high school guidance counselor, make sure that you're meeting all the requirements to be eligible for athletics. Your high school guidance counselor will be a great resource to help you through all of those details. Classes are transferable to most in-state institutions. And after graduation, students can choose to continue their education here at Northwest State, or you can go ahead and transfer on to another institution. So now we're going to talk about the difference between high school and college classes, just so you guys are very aware of these differences. So in high school, it's a very structured environment. You go from class to class to class all day from 8 to about 3 o'clock. Where in college, you're going to manage your own time. There could be a day where you only have 2 one-hour classes all day long, and then the rest of your day is your time. So it's really important for a student to be responsible and make sure they're using that free time wisely. In high school, parents and teachers are very involved, where in college, it's up to the student. So in college, we have what is called FERPA. That just means that all of the educational records belong to the student. So a parent can't call a teacher at the college and ask to see how their student is doing. In high school, homework counts, whereas in college, tests and papers count. So you could have a class where you only have maybe 2 tests for the entire semester. So it's just important to really focus on that, whereas in high school, you may have lots of homework and participation grades. In high school, there's minimal outside work. Yes, we understand you have homework in high school, but in college, you have a lot more outside work required. And then in college, content may be of mature level. So some other considerations to be aware of. You're responsible for getting to and from campus. So if you have a face-to-face class, the student will be responsible to get to campus for that class. Your efforts in this program could possibly positively or negatively affect your GPA and class rank. So like I've mentioned a couple times, these classes count for both high school and college GPAs. You're starting your college transcript right when you take CCP classes. And the students also must complete any end of the course exams that are required by your high school. Again, see your high school guidance counselor and they will help you make sure that you meet all of your graduation requirements. So even in bad weather, you're probably still going to have your college classes. If your high school closes, there's a good chance that you're still going to be expected to be on campus in your face-to-face class. Very, very rarely does the college close. We did actually close last week, but that was the first time in a long time. So just be aware that even if you have a 2-hour delay or a high school closing, you're still going to have your college class, most likely. So what kind of learner are you? We have a couple of different options of class kind of styles that you can take. So on campus is your typical face-to-face class. You would come here to campus, go to class. We have online options where it would be completely online. No need to come to campus at all. And then hybrid's kind of the best of both worlds. So you would have some face-to-face components as well as some online components as well. And then occasionally, I mentioned this a little bit earlier, some high schools do have some CCP classes offered at their high school, but it really just depends on what high school you go to. So what courses can you take as a CCP student? Like we mentioned, CCP courses can satisfy high school graduation requirements. Your high school guidance counselor, again, will help make sure that you're on track to graduate. And just be aware that some high schools do have more requirements than the state minimum. So who is eligible? Like we said, must be an Ohio resident. You have to be in grades 7 through 12. Students must meet the prereqs and coreqs for the courses they're interested in. Easiest example that I can think of is you have to take Comp 1 before you can take Comp 2. If a student's scores are not considered college level, there are a couple other things that your guidance counselor can look into, such as a high school GPA 3.0 or higher and a recommendation, but you would have to talk to your guidance counselor about that. Just be aware that colleges do have the final decision on students' admission. So due to COVID, there's a couple new changes. So last year, some of the assessment exams weren't able to take place. So there was some flexibility that the state came out with, and that has been extended for the next year. So be sure to check with your guidance counselor on those details. And now I'm going to pass it over to Michaela.
Okay, so a little bit about course eligibility rules. So when students enter the College Credit Plus program, students must complete their first 15 credit hours within the level 1 courses. So some of those subject areas that the level 1 courses that you can take are transferable courses. So courses that will transfer to a 4-year institution, courses in the general studies, such as like English, math, and science, courses that are part of a technical certificate, courses that are part of a 15 to 30 credit hour pathway, courses that are in study skills, academic or career success. Like we have a really great career planning class here at Northwest State where you'll practice like resume writing and like interview skills and stuff like that. So that's like a really neat class to take. And then once a student reaches their first 15 credit hours, they can move on to the level 2 courses. So we have our level 1 course sheet that we'll actually email to you after the end of this meeting, or you can also find it on our website. So it's about like 3 pages long, and you can see all the level 1 courses that fall in that category. So a little bit more about courses that are not allowed in the College Credit Plus program. So these are courses that you cannot take while you're in the CCP program. So private applied courses, like a one-on-one instruction, so kind of like an independent study, courses with high fees, study abroad courses, physical education courses, pass-fail courses, remedial courses. And what remedial courses are is because you have to test college level ready for this program, it's kind of like a developmental before you would take a Comp 1 or a college algebra class. So since your student has to test college level ready, they cannot take a remedial course. And then religious courses are not allowed in the program as well. So a little bit about academic requirements. So we'll kind of go more in depth on this in a little bit, and this is also that will be on the checklist that we'll email to you. But some of the academic requirements for College Credit Plus is to participate in the CCP program, all students must test college level ready, kind of like what I was saying earlier when it came to the remedial courses. And we see that with the Accuplacer scores or the ACT scores. That's how we determine if students are eligible for this program. So when you get that checklist emailed to you, you can see what all test scores are required for the program. Your CCP courses will also be factored into your high school and college GPA. We cannot stress that enough. It's just something that we really have to go over from the state level. So a little bit about consequences for underperforming if your student was to do poorly in this program. So if students fail or withdraw often, their future financial aid may be impacted. So when they go to enroll in college after high school, since they've already started that college transcript, like Kayla mentioned, unfortunately, this doesn't go away. A student is already starting their academic career. So something just to keep in mind that you're already starting that and that your future financial aid may be impacted. If students perform poorly, they may be put on CCP probation or CCP dismissal or academic probation by the college. If a student is placed on CCP probation, he or she that earns less than a cumulative 2.0 GPA in CCP courses, or if they also withdraw with 2 courses in the same academic term, they could be placed on probation as well. So when you're on the CCP probation, if it gets to that point, you may enroll in only one CCP course for the academic semester or quarter. And then also you may not enroll in the same subject area where you earned that D or F. So if you did terrible in a college algebra class, you couldn't take another math class, if that makes sense. So again, if it gets to dismissal, a little bit about CCP dismissal, if it gets to that point, if students on CCP probation do not increase their CCP GPA to a 2.0 or higher during the probation term, they will be placed on the CCP dismissal. While on the CCP dismissal, students cannot take any college credit plus courses. And then at the end of the dismissal term, they can request or repeal to be reinstated back into the program if that's something that they would want to do. So a little bit about the application process, because you're probably thinking, how do I even get started in this program? Where do I even begin? So this application process, again, this will all be emailed to you step by step on what to do. Your first step is to complete your intent to participate form, which is due April 1st, and that is through your guidance counselor. And when we do these presentations, we always just encourage students to get that done and out of the way, because that April 1st deadline comes pretty quick. From there, you will do our online application. So you would go onto our Northwest State website and fill out a admissions application just like any other student. You're just going to want to make sure that you select College Credit Plus as your student type. From there, we will then send you an email with your student ID number and your student email. Your third step then is to complete your consent form, which again, we will email that to you, or usually your guidance counselor has copies of those as well, and they'll send over that consent form with a transcript. Usually we get them in batches, so we'll get your consent form and your transcript usually together. So we'll send that via email. Your fourth step then is to either submit your ACT scores or then take an Accuplacer assessment. The Accuplacer assessment that is done here in our admissions office, you can sign up for that on the website. I do say that you have to do your admissions application before you sign up for the Accuplacer so we can generate you that student ID number because you need that for the test. We do go out to some high schools, so if that is an option, please check with your guidance counselor on the Accuplacer at your school. So again, with some of the deadlines, again, this will be emailed to you April 1st. That is going to be your intent to participate form. If you are thinking about taking a summer course, we would like your CCP and consent form turned in by April 1st. For the fall term, April 15th, and for the spring term, November 2nd. For the Accuplacer or ACT, we would like that turned in for summer by May 3rd, or fall, July 1st, or spring term, we'd like that turned in by December 1st. I do like to point out that your high school might have different deadlines, so please check with them when it comes to the deadlines because we want you to follow their deadlines first. A lot of our high schools, they like things turned in before summer break. So keep these in mind, yes, our deadlines, but please check with your guidance counselor if there is different deadlines. So a little bit about our summer term, just because it's a little more different than our fall and spring semester. So our summer term classes are either 8 or 12 weeks long. So they are very, very short. So we like to say if a student is thinking about taking a summer course, maybe consider family vacations, or if you're going away on a summer camp, something like that, just because we don't want you to be gone for 2 or 3 weeks out of an 8-week class. So just something to keep in mind. It is the same material that is covered in a 16-week course. Again, it's just broken down just a little bit more. So our 8-week term, that goes from June 7th to July 30th, and 12-week term, that goes from May 24th to August 13th. I do like to point out for the 12-week classes that you still might be enrolled in high school at that time. You might still be taking your high school classes. So please make sure that you start your college course on that May 24th date. So just something to keep in mind. Our summer and fall schedule will be available online March 15th, and then we start registration for summer and fall on March 22nd. So step-by-step overview, just because we have went over a lot of information tonight, so please do not be afraid to ask any questions. First step is to complete that, again, that intent to participate form and the College Credit Plus application on our website and that CCP consent form. We then would like you to submit the College Credit Plus consent form along with the high school transcript to Northwest State, or just give that to your guidance counselor. They'll send it right in with your transcript, that consent form. Schedule your Accuplacer or ACT if needed. And then once you decide, yes, I want to go through with this program, you get all your paperwork turned in, you hit the required test scores, You will complete our online advising and orientation workshop. That is online through your student portal, and it's a big orientation welcoming you to the program. And then you will do our online learning readiness assessment if you want to take an online course. And that is an assessment just to make sure you can navigate through our online portal and make sure you can upload a document, download a document, and you're very comfortable with that. You will then meet with your school counselor to select classes. So we work very closely with our high school guidance counselors. So please work with them when scheduling your classes so that it doesn't interfere with your high school schedule. And then you can always meet with our College Credit Plus advisors as well if you would like to schedule courses with them. And if you have any other additional questions, the ohiohighered.org/CCP is a really great resource. It has so much information on it. So if you would like more information than what you received tonight, feel free to check out that website. All of us in the admissions office, we look at it quite often. So that is a great resource. So if you have any other questions, Nicole Gershutz and Ann Feather are our two CCP advisors. They are both here tonight, and they're going to go over some packet information that you'll be receiving via email. So I'm going to welcome them back up, and they're going to go over that.
Thank you, Michaela.
Hello, I'm Ann Feather. I work with some of the public schools. Nicole and I both split up half and half. She has part of the public schools, I have part of public schools, and then I take care of the homeschool. But I'm going to leave this up to Nicole at this point.
All right, so in the packet that you're going to be receiving via email from the QR code that you scanned or using the link that was put up in the chat, you're going to be receiving a consent form that will need to be filled out by you and the guidance counselor and a parent. When this guidance counselors get that consent form, that will be their trigger to go ahead and send us a transcript along with that. You'll receive our advisor information that was just up on the screen. You'll get that so that you'll have that handy. You'll get a CCP checklist. This is going to go in depth about your steps that need to be taken. For the roadmap, then we'll get that to you also. It just takes you quickly through like the checklist, just not as in depth. And it helps you kind of walk you through. You can put it up on your refrigerator, check it off as you go. You'll also receive a level 1 course list. So if you have any questions about the courses that you qualify for or can take within your first 15 credit hours, that's going to be your go-to. We're also going to send you a copy of the PowerPoint from this evening. So if you had questions that you wanted to make sure that you could see the PowerPoint a little bit better, we'll have that in that email for you also. We will also send an eligibility checklist. So like Michaela had said, with the breakdown of the scores that you need to be eligible for CCP or for different courses, that will be in that packet also. At this point, does anyone have any questions that they want to put in the chat? This is your option or your opportunity to ask any questions you may have. Yes, if you guys want to unmute to ask questions or put them through chat, however you want to do it. No, okay. So this is your opportunity to ask any questions that you may have. I know when we're in face-to-face, this gives you the opportunity to ask those questions because normally when you have that question, there's somebody else that has that question also. So we are here to help with any questions you may have. Yep.
There is a question about if Swanton High School is having an Accuplacer test at the high school. I have not heard yet. I can check with the guidance counselor tomorrow morning to see if they are interested in having us come to them or if they're going to have you come to the campus to test. So I can check that out tomorrow. And if you want to reach out to your guidance counselor, you can. I have not heard one way or the other yet. We're still reaching out to some of the schools because of the COVID situation. We're having some schools let us come to the schools and test. Some schools are having them come here, where can they be socially distanced a little bit more. So some are using some of the qualifications. So we're just trying to work with all the schools to make it as easy as possible for us to get the testing done. We're looking at the other questions that are popping up.
Okay, so the next question is, I'm registering to take the ACT early April. So I will need to, will I need to complete the Accuplacer, or can I wait until I receive my scores from that? You should be able to use the ACT scores for that. It just kind of depends on when you get the scores back and the registration time. Normally, we like to see students register before graduation or before the summer break starts. That way, then you have the more opportunities for classes before they fill up. Okay, the next question is Accuplacer taken prior to course selection? Yes, because the Accuplacer is going to determine what courses you are eligible to take and if you are eligible for College Credit Plus.
And for those of you that aren't really sure, not familiar with the Accuplacer test, the Accuplacer test will test you over English, reading, and mathematics. There's a section for each of those. It usually takes around an hour and a half to 2 hours for a student to test in those categories. And when you take the test, if you come here on campus and take the test, or if Nicole and I come to a high school and proctor the test at the high schools, we get the scores immediately as soon as the students are done. So Nicole and I actually go through the scores with the students as soon as they get the Accuplacer scores. That way you know if you're eligible for the test, or if something happens, you might have to retest. That's always a possibility too. And you can test and retest in an Accuplacer once every academic year. So if something were to happen, say you're a younger student, maybe 7th and 8th grader, and you take the Accuplacer test and you don't score high enough, and you want to maybe wait until the next year, you can test and retest again. So there's always that opportunity up until your junior year to do that and to become eligible to be able to take College Credit Plus classes.
Okay, the next question, I feel like I'm not even on screen. I apologize.
Yeah, you are.
Okay, so the next question was in regards to in-person classes through with COVID. So right now we are at a limited number of students who can be in a class. We're working on moving that up based on our numbers on campus. So hopefully by summer, we can all be face-to-face, or at least a higher number of students on campus. Dr. Thompson, do you want to chime in on that at all?
I do. So we started the fall face-to-face, and then by the time we got to Thanksgiving, we were mostly remote. So we opened remote. We went to classes of 10 or less is where we are now. We've had virtually no COVID spread inside our building, so we're feeling pretty confident. So on February 8th, we had that next window open. March 22nd, we're opening up a whole block of face-to-face classes that are 8 weeks long. And then in summer, we plan to be back to where we were before. So we just respond to the health situation as I see it. This is probably the most important part. Even if we contract or expand people on campus, we always get the face-to-face time done. That is, faculty meet with students. Maybe we extend the term out another week or two, bring people on campus to catch up. So you'll at least get 7 or 8 weeks, or half of that face-to-face time will happen. I think our motto is, we have your back. We're not going to leave you in an online all by yourself, unless it's an online class.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Thompson. Our next question is, what technology should a student expect to have? Internet, Chromebook, laptop, calculator? All of the above, depending on how your class format is taking place. Normally, you will receive a list of materials the first day of class on the syllabus. That will kind of give you an idea of what to expect. We have seen some issues where students with Chromebooks cannot complete some of the assignments that are due just because they are Microsoft Office Suite necessary, or they're not compatible. So what we'll do is we can work with you to see what all you need to have before you jump into the class. So when Ann and I work with registering students, we always have a couple classes that we're always like, you need to have this, this, and this. So during that time period, we'll kind of go over that. One of the big ones is Microsoft applications. We see a lot of CCP students take that class because right now the schools are using Google as it's free. But in the college setting, you're going to be expected to use Microsoft Office. With that, we've seen students struggle because their Chromebooks aren't compatible. So trying to work around with other family members using the computer, working with our IT department to see if we can lease a computer, things like that. We can help. That's what Ann and I are here for, to help we walk through those.
The next question is when will the Accuplacer be offered? So the first thing I would do is check with your guidance counselor and see if Nicole and I are coming out to the schools. Right now, we probably have 8 schools that were already set up for the springtime to go and actually proctor the test if COVID numbers stay in check. If you want to take it here on campus, the first thing you'll need to do, of course, is apply and get that N number. And then you go back into where you clicked on future student and then college credit plus, and you'll actually see an icon that says Accuplacer sign up. And you can actually sign up there. When you sign up for the Accuplacer, you'll see probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 weeks probably worth of testing dates. And then once those are filled up, we keep adding dates all the way through. So you may only see right now when you go in the first or second, like now for February, and the first or second week of March. But as those fill up, then we'll keep going and going. We test 3 days a week. So we test Tuesday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We test Wednesday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and Thursdays at 9 o'clock in the morning. And then if we start to get more and more, we might be adding another day or another testing time. So those are the dates that you'll see for us if you come on campus to test. So, and there are also study guides. So when you click up for the Accuplacer, you'll actually see a place where you can click on study guides and actually look at retired Accuplacer tests, which are really nice to look at before you come on campus to test, to kind of get familiar with what the testing looks like.
Okay, the next question is, does the Accuplacer test have to be taken every year if I am currently enrolled in CCP? The answer to that varies because it depends on what you're planning on taking. If you qualified the first time around in everything that you wanted to take, so you qualified in reading and the right placer to take Comp 1, and you qualified in math to take college algebra, you are all set and you do not have to retest. But say you qualified in the reading and the writing, but did not qualify in the math, and you are interested in taking a math class, that is when you would need to retest, and you would only need to retest in the section that you did not qualify in.
So that question, it's almost the same answer to that question. Do you require test scores each year? Or if a student is accepted, can they skip taking the test for the next years? Exactly what Nicole just explained. If you're applying to multiple colleges, do you need to take the Accuplacer at both or just one? So say you decide you want to come here to take a class and you take the Accuplacer and we have our scores for here, and you decide you're going to take a class here, and then you decide, well, I think I'll take a class at Northwest State and maybe I'll take a class at UT, but UT needs your Accuplacer scores. We actually can transfer your Accuplacer scores from here to the other college. It costs $10 to do that. There's a transfer fee to do that, but we can do that. And that will happen vice versa. So say you're taking classes at UT and you decide you want to take maybe a class with us also, you could ask UT then to transfer your Accuplacer scores to us. And then we can use that to check your eligibility then for classes here on campus.
Okay, the next question is, do students who are going to class on campus have to be tested for COVID-19 in order to be able to go to class? At this point, no. We are doing the honor system. Basically, we do ask you to take your temperature every time you do come on campus. They log your N number every time you walk in the door. They're going to ask you the normal questions of, have you been around anybody with COVID? Do you know anybody who is being tested for COVID and waiting on results? Those kind of questions they're going to ask you when you come in the door. And then we'll kind of go from there.
The next question, are humanities level one, are humanities classes level one courses? Yes, they are considered level one courses. The only thing about that is with a humanities course, it does have a prerequisite of Comp 1. So the first English class, so you'll have to either take English one semester and take humanities the second semester, or take them at the same time. That's one thing you have to consider. Comp 1 is kind of an opening of, once you take that class, it opens up a lot of different classes that you can take, but it is a prereq for a lot of those type of classes. But yes, we have humanities 209 and 210 here on campus that you can take.
I want to jump back to the COVID real quick question, just because I wanted to let you know that we are doing social distancing. We are doing additional cleaning. Our facilities and maintenance and our housekeeping have been fantastic on keeping up with everybody. The instructors are making sure that you are housed in classrooms that are decreased population and are clean. So you should not have any worries. We are here on campus right now, and I feel like it's cleaner than my house is right now. The next question is, if I have a 3.0, does that make me exempt from having to take Accuplacer? Okay, so this question is going to be determined by your guidance counselor. Right now, I know that a lot of guidance counselors are leaning to the testing because testing is available. Last year at this time, we were getting ready to go into some schools and test, and we had to cancel all of those testing just because nobody was testing, nobody was meeting, nobody was doing big groups. So they are wanting to do the testing if possible. Now that's something that if you are worried about, you can talk with your guidance counselor and see what their thoughts are. And we can kind of help you along the way with that too.
Next question, if you take an online class, will we be expected to purchase physical books, or will there be PDFs or electronic books provided with a syllabus? It depends on what class it is. Some classes you have the choice to, once you sign up for the class, you'll get a book list. It'll give you the opportunity, some classes will give you the opportunity to buy a physical book. Some will give you the opportunity to buy an online version like an access code, and that's what you'll use in your class itself. Some classes, online classes, depending on the instructor, will provide the materials to you through materials that they are going to use for the classes, and you don't have to purchase a book at all.
Okay, and going back to kind of piggybacking off of what Ann said, as a CCP student from our public school, you do not have to purchase the books. The schools will take care of purchasing the books for you. The next question is, if you didn't have to take the Accuplacer last year due to COVID, do you have to take it this year? And my response to that is going to be, as long as you qualified for the classes that you wanted to take at that point in time, you are good to go. If you qualified for a math but not the comp course because you hadn't taken sophomore English yet, then you would have to either take the Accuplacer or prove that you received an A or a B or better in comp or in sophomore English.
Okay. Yeah. The next one is, what classes are offered for CCP? And we will actually send you the level 1 course list that's like 3 or 4 pages long, full of all the classes that you can take. So we're talking from anywhere from intro to engineering, to introduction to business, to English classes, to science classes, to medical terminology, I mean, there's so many classes that you can take as a College Credit Plus student, but it's all going to depend too on how you test and what you qualify for. So there's always the test scores first, and then we can tell you what you're eligible for. We can talk to you about that after testing also. Nicole and I also go through that. But it's a lot of general education classes that are considered tag approved. So they will transfer to an Ohio college, public college or university. If you are going to go out of state, or if you're going to go to a private school in Ohio, then that's something, as you start to take classes, if you're having contact with that college that you might plan to go to after you graduate, then that's something you need to have a conversation with them to make sure that what you're taking is going to be transferred to their college.
All right, the next question is, if I'm planning to take CCP classes in place of certain high school classes while still attending my high school, am I considered an online or hybrid student? Okay, so this question is kind of going to depend on what format you select. So an online is going to be fully online. So you will do all of your stuff through our learning platform, Sakai. Everything's going to be in there. You'll have connection with your instructor, but it's all going to be online. A hybrid class is kind of the best of both worlds. So you're going to have a little bit of face-to-face. So you'll come on campus or do it through Zoom, and you'll also have the online component. So I hope that helps answer that question.
I'm wondering too, if they're thinking if they're considered a hybrid, if they're going to two different places.
Okay,
Which are considered
so-
a dual student.
So with being a CCP student, you are considered a dual enrollment student. So you're taking college classes and you're taking high school classes. So you're earning credit for your high school classes and for college classes, as long as you get it to align correctly. So if you take Comp 1, that's going to count as one English for high school. So if you decide junior year to take Comp 1 and then fall semester and then Comp 2 spring semester, that's going to count as your junior English and your senior English, because you're doing 2 high school credits of English. I hope that makes sense.
Okay, the next question, if a certain class is required for another class, are you able to take them both at the same time, similar to Comp 1 and the humanities level 1, or does that vary? It depends on whether the classes are considered a co-requisite or a prerequisite. So for Comp 1, if you wanted to take a Comp 1 course and you wanted to take a humanities, that's considered a co-requisite, which means you can take them both at the same time, but you have to take them for the same semester. If you look in the course catalog and the course description, and we can help you through all this. This is what Nicole and I are here for, to help you through all of these kind of questions. We will look and see whether it's considered like, one more, I'm trying to think, it's a prerequisite.
Comp 2.
Yeah, okay, for Comp 2. So Comp 2, of course, you cannot take, the prerequisite for Comp 2 is going to be Comp 1. So of course, you have to take that one semester and then take Comp 2 the second semester. So we will help you with the co-requisite and the prerequisite. Those type of questions we'll go through with the guidance counselor. You know, you'll have a discussion with your guidance counselor, then you'll have our information and you can email us, and it's like a constant communication. We don't expect you to have the answers to all these questions. We will help you through all that process and walk you through that.
Okay, that ends our questions. If anybody has any other questions, you can either unmute yourself or go ahead and send it to the chat. Just kind of want to give everybody a little bit more time to think about their questions. If you want to also, and you have not already completed the QR code, you can either scan it with your phone, or we can put in the link again in the chat so that you can go to that website and fill out that form. That way, then we have all of your contact information to send your attendance verification to your guidance counselors. So you get your attendance points for that for your guidance counselors at the high school. And also we're going to get your email so that we can email you all of the packet information, as well as the PowerPoint from tonight's event.
And also, just to wrap up a little bit also for Nicole and myself, when you meet with your guidance counselor and you talk about the different classes that you want to take, a lot of times Nicole and I will actually come out to the schools too and sit down with the student, or we've done it through Zoom too, where we're actually meeting with a student and talking to you about your classes that you want to take. Once the registration form is filled out for the classes you want to take, Nicole and myself are the ones that actually register you for the classes. You don't have to worry about any of that. We work through all that with the guidance counselors. We register you for the classes that you want to take. We'll send you an email, let you know that you've been registered. So all of that is all done by us. You don't have to worry about trying to figure out how to go in and register for classes. That's another service that we provide for you. I know it seems kind of overwhelming sometimes when we start to talk about this, we realize how much there is to this process. But all I can tell you is that Nicole and I, Michaela and Kayla, their whole admissions team is here to help you through this process. I know it's sometimes it's almost foreign to some people. There's so much information and it seems so overwhelming. Our job is to make it as easy as possible for you, to walk you through this process. And we help the guidance counselors, and the guidance counselors help us, and we help the students. And when you get in the classes, we're there for questions if you have questions while you're in classes. And it's just, That's just what we do, and we love doing it. We love being able to help the students. So don't ever hesitate to ask questions, and don't think you're going to have to do this all by yourself, because you're not going to have to.
Okay, so we have put the link, if you cannot scan the QR code, we have put the link in the chat. Go ahead and make sure you complete that. Again, I can't stress how important that is, because that's going to be your attendance verification for your guidance counselors to verify that you did attend tonight. We do have one more question, is there a time limit on the Accuplacer test? The Accuplacer test does not have a time limit. So if you have test anxiety, I know the ACT has time limits on each section and you have to race through to get them all done. Accuplacer, you come in, you can take however long you want. We are here until you're done. So you don't have to worry about rushing. We can give you extra pencils if you run out of lead. We can give you extra paper, however you need to do it. We are here for that. So if you have questions about Accuplacer, we can answer those too.
We do tell people though, sometimes if you know you're a person that takes a little bit longer for testing, or a little bit more meticulous when you're doing your testing, maybe the 4 o'clock in the afternoon might not work quite as well as maybe the 1 o'clock in the afternoon or the 9 o'clock in the morning, only because you're starting to get into the dinner hour. If you're still testing and you're getting hungry, and then all those things can affect your testing. So if you take a little bit longer testing, which is fine, this is what this test is made for, people who might want to take a little bit longer. We maybe suggest taking the earlier ones during the day instead of maybe the 4 o'clock in the afternoon ones, but that's just something that we throw out there to the students also. Anything else?
And like we said before, the QR code, it's going to get you lots of information. I know I've repeated myself on this, but I want to stress it, because you are also in that email that we're going to send to you. You're going to get your CCP advisor information. Anna information is going to be in there. You're going to have our emails, our phone numbers. You'll be able to connect with us. So if you think of questions tonight, write them down. When you get that email address, go ahead and shoot us an email, and we'll be able to answer those questions for you. Okay.
It might be a couple days before you get this information correct, because we are supposed to be testing tomorrow at a school, and that's going to be pretty much an all day, all morning and all noon affair. So be patient with us, give us a couple days, but we have all of your emails and we'll get all the information to you in the next couple of days.
Okay. So another question is, students' fall schedules for the high schools are being determined now. How will they know what NSCC CCP classes will fit within their high school schedule? So what we normally do is we have you schedule your classes now with your guidance counselors. They're going to know, and you can let them know too, that you're planning on being a CCP student, that you're planning on taking CCP classes. So as long as they kind of have a heads up, they're going to know that there's going to need to be a little flexibility. That's going to be definitely a needed thing. But normally they just kind of leave a blank spot in your schedule so that they can put a class there for CCP. A lot of our CCP students have chosen to take either classes via Zoom or online, because then they have that flexibility with the time. I hope that helps with that. Was there another one?
Is that good?
Okay. So if anybody does not have any other questions, we will stay on for a little bit just in case you guys want to chat. Again, if you haven't filled out the QR code, make sure you do that. And we'll put the link again in the chat for you. Click on that link. It'll take you right to the Google form to fill out. And we'll get that information to you probably tomorrow afternoon, Wednesday morning.
Thank you so very much for coming, all that you did. Come tonight, we appreciate your attendance. Dr. Thompson, thank you so much for being here with us and sharing this evening. It's nice to see you.
Happy to be here. I just want to pass on thank you for spending your valuable time with us, and we're happy to answer all your questions. Bottom line for us is very simple. We'd love to see you get a class or two and get confidence about going to college, get a grade or two under your belt, whether with us or anybody else. We want to see you complete. And we're your community's college. That's what we're here for.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you all for attending. If you have any questions, we'll stay on for a few more minutes. If not, you are free to go. Thank you again.